Welcome to the fun and mentals of real estate. I got a question for you today.
No, wait. I got the question.
You got a question?
Yes, this is
What's
going
the
all
question
over.
of the day?
What in the heck is a NAR? Everybody's talking about the NAR settlement. I don't even know what that means. Gnarly? Narwhale? What is NAR? What's a NAR?
Okay, great question of the day. We'll answer in a minute. I'm Angela Dillmon with Keller Williams Realty Chesterfield, and this is my wealth building partner.
Yeah, Glen Calvin, Gilt Mortgage, right here in Chesterfield, Missouri.
Okay, awesome. So, what is a NAR?
Yeah, I hear all this about the NAR. Somebody settled with a NAR.
See, we're already having fun. I didn't know if we were going to have any fun with the National Association of Realtors lawsuit settlement.
An acronym. Okay.
Yeah, that's what it is. All right, so I guess we're already sort of having fun.
You can bring fun to this. Fun would make us wiser, seeing clearly, figuring it out.
All right, so clarity is power. Your
Yes.
fun today is that you're going to have clarity around
Perfect.
the NAR lawsuit settlement. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little bit of background. This is why this lawsuit started. Okay?
Greedy
Now,
lawyers.
well, if you're an attorney out there, I apologize.
They're not all
attorneys.
greedy.
Okay. All right, so in the class action lawsuit, it kind of feels a little bit like this because if you distributed the settlement money out over all the buyers and sellers who are eligible, they will all get like $10. So the lawyers are making all the money in this.
And this is a lawsuit that was filed, 5 years ago, 6 years ago? It's taken a long time.
It's taken a long time. It started in Kansas City, and I'll tell you why this was filed in Kansas City, why I think it was filed in Kansas City. This is all over transparency, okay? It seems as though when you list a house, sellers typically pay the commission.
For
They
like
pay-
150 years, right?
Yeah,
That's how real estate's always been.
This has literally been done for 100 years. It is perfectly legal. Okay, they pay the agent helping them, and they pay the agent helping the buyer.
Right.
Okay, so there's usually two agents in a transaction these days, one representing the seller, one representing the buyer.
And there's a certain
And that's
percentage.
usually- and a
they
certain
split it,
percentage.
right?
And now the seller gets to decide, and they get to negotiate the commission with their listing agent. And then the listing agent takes part of that commission. Technically, the listing agent takes part of that commission and pays part of that commission to the buyer's agent. So the seller doesn't actually directly pay them. They pay their listing agent. And the listing agent then shares that commission out to the buyer's agent.
All settled up at closing, right?
Yeah, it's all settled up at closing. So it's been done this way for 100 years because it works.
Right.
Okay, it's perfectly legal. There was nothing illegal about it. This was all about transparency. Some sellers felt like they didn't have a choice. Miss Realtor, you're not giving me a choice of whether how much I pay or the fact that you are sharing part of this commission with the buyer's agent. You're not giving me a choice.
But I would say, haven't commissions always been somewhat negotiable?
They're always been negotiable, always will be, always have been. Now, sellers have always had the ability to negotiate their commissions with their listing agent. That's where it's negotiated.
Well, I pay more than
Right.
4. I hear the commercials all the time.
Oh yeah,
People do it for
there's all
flat
kinds
fee,
of different
right?
models out there, and you get what you pay for, right? So there are discount models.
And I could always sell my house myself for too, right? I don't have to have a real estate
You
agent
don't
sell
have
my
to
house.
have. Okay,
Right.
so this was all about understanding, transparency, and some sellers feeling like they were forced to. Now, for the buyers, on the buyer's side of the lawsuit, it was more of, hey, you're telling me that you're free. Hey, you don't have to pay me. The seller's going to pay me. It's all good, and that's true. That's the way the money flowed.
And it really wouldn't work if the seller had to pay you, because are you going to charge him every time you go look at a house?
A buyer.
Yeah,
You meant
I'm
a
sorry.
buyer.
Yeah, a buyer. We'll edit that.
Right. Yeah. The reason that's done this way and it's worked this way is that buyers have their down payment, they have their closing costs, and then there's commissions, right? And if you went to an auction, okay, if you went to an auction and the auctioneer said, hey, when you buy this thing, you have to pay me. You got to pay me and buy the thing.
Yeah.
How many people do you think will show up for the auction?
No, not
If
many.
you charge them to buy anything.
And how many real estate agents would do it to say, okay, I'm going to represent you as a buyer, but you have to pay me per hour. You have to pay me every time we go see a house.
Oh, like an attorney. That would
Yes,
be
yeah,
crazy.
it would never work, and it would be too expensive.
Right. So you have to also remember that in the commissions, agents don't get paid unless it closes.
Right.
So sellers didn't feel that it was clear enough that it was transparent enough or that they had an option. And maybe some agents did not give them the option or make it clear, right? So how is the NAR settlement going to change our world? It's not really going to change all that much, y'all, because this is the deal. The buyers have closing costs, they have down payment, and now you want them to pay commission too when they go buy something?
Yeah.
Okay? So if you want your buyer pool, the question is the seller, when they agree with the listing agent on a commission, is sharing some of that commission from the listing agent to the buyer's agent benefit the seller?
Heck yeah.
That's
what are they going to say? I'm only going to sell this house to buyers that have enough money for the down payment, the closing costs, and to pay their agent? You're going to limit yourself, of course.
Okay, so as a seller, you want your buyer pool to be this big, not this big, right? So if you only want to deal with people who have lots of money, great, then your buyer pool is this big. If you want to deal with everybody and their brother, and you want the buyer pool to be this big, you'll continue to offer out. The fact of the matter is you do have the option of how much you share out, right? And so in Kansas City, and it's not true here in St. Louis, but in Kansas City, it's been 3 listing agent, 3 buyer's agent, 3 listing agent, 3. It's been a 3-3 split. It's been so standard up there, it's amazing. And I think that's why the lawsuit originated here. In St. Louis, just, back in 07, 08, all the things, commissions that were offered out were 3%, 3.15, 3.5, as much as 4% out to a buyer's agent. That's not true today. See, they think that we set this and it's just the same. It's not.
The market sets it, right?
The market sets it because now that it's such a seller's market and inventory is so low, commissions that you normally see now, 2.7 out to a buyer's agent, 2.5, 2.25, 2, 1% I've seen. That of course shrinks the buyer pool.
What do you think is going to happen when the market shifts and now all of a sudden it's the buyers have the upper hand?
That's right. Then sellers are probably going to say, let's pay out more, or let's pay a bonus, or let's pay something more out and get those buyer's agents in here, and they're going to be begging them. So
and that's the way the market would always make adjustments. So back to the settlement. What does the settlement say now?
So the settlement is just that, hey, we want you guys to explain that sellers have choices. So what's going to change is our forms. Our forms are going to have more choices on it. The forms will explain it. So the agent, if they don't explain it, at least the form will explain it. We've always explained it to sellers like, you have the option. You can pay this, you can pay that, you can pay nothing. Here's your options. And we go through what benefits the seller. Keep that buyer pool wide, right? And so, and by the way, all these selling prices, all these comparable homes that have sold, they all have commissions built in them. Yes. Take the commissions away and those home prices are smaller, right? Because those buyer pools are smaller. The reason you get so much for your home is that the buyer pool is so big, you get the exposure a realtor can provide, and there's more showings, right? More eyes on the internet, more showings at the door, more offers, better price, better terms. That's just how the formula works.
So do you see any of these forms hindering the closing? Have an effect on the closing? Because in lending, we went through something very similar. That people remember this. It was around 2007, 2008. They passed a lot of laws regarding fair lending, regarding RESPA, making sure we
lenders
disclose.
Went through this.
Oh heck yeah!
They went through all this.
They made our commission had to be straight commission. It couldn't be based on the interest rate, and we had to disclose.
Right.
Now there are a few things about that still upset me to this day. An honest mistake can delay your closing, which is not what anybody wanted. But it did really open up our world so that people are well aware of the fees they're being charged, the money that they need, and it got a lot of those shady, sleazy lenders out of the business.
Right, there was some predatory lending,
and it was difficult a little bit, but now 16, 17 years in, we're down with it, and we're comfortable.
Right.
So it sounds very similar.
Yeah, it does. And sellers, really, it benefits you to offer for your listing agent to share something out to the buyer's agent because it keeps the buyer pool big, right? And for a buyer, it benefits them because coming up with down payment closing, they don't also need to come up with this commission.
Right? I don't know how a veteran would buy a house.
The VAs, right. They don't allow sellers buyers to pay their agents. Right. So that's going to be an issue that VA is going to have to do something about probably now.
But we've seen deals from the lending side, and even before NAR, where maybe the commission was 2% and the agent is used to getting 2.5, and they'll actually pay a small part of the commission.
Right.
So we've seen it before. It's nothing really new.
Right.
That's why, in my mind, Angie, it's not that going to change.
It's not going to change big time. You might see some new models pop out, maybe offering a flat rate buyer agency fee, but again, you're going to get what you pay for. Right now, if a seller decides they're going to only offer out 2%, and you as a buyer have hired a realtor and you've agreed on a 2.5 or 2.7, you might have to participate a little bit in making up the difference in the commission. We already do that.
Right, we do. And what we try and do too is we disclose. We look at those numbers up front.
Yeah.
So it's not like we get to closing and we say, sorry, Mr. Buyer, we had to tack on an extra $2,000. No, this is all something that's set from the day you write the contract and go to the numbers with your lender.
Yes, and if your realtor's not upfront with you and not having this commission discussion up front, then you need to get a different realtor, right? Okay, you probably have a weak agent, all right? So you need to have this discussion in your buyer agency consultation. And as a seller, you need to have this commission discussion with the listing agent that some of this is going to be shared out, and you as a seller actually get to choose what you offer out. You always have been.
So there's a little bit of fun. So now you're clear, you understand it.
Yeah, hopefully
we know
NAR
stands for National Association of Realtors. I'll never forget it. And I think it's just going to be business as usual, and just have those conversations and educate yourself.
Right. And they may not allow us to place what commission is being shared out in the MLS. It may have to be done someplace else, but it doesn't really keep it from happening. Again, completely legal, always has been. It's not that it's been illegal. It's always
people are going to keep buying and selling. They're going to need professional people to guide them and help them. And I don't think it's going to. What is the nothing burger?
Yeah, I actually had a buyer call me and say, "Oh my gosh, are there going to be any buyer's agents anymore? Don't worry, we're going to be here for you. We're going to help you. You need the help. We're here for you." So give us a call, 314-277-7713. We'll have that discussion with you, whether you're buying or whether you're selling.
Yeah, and if you need a loan or any questions about how the money's going to look, give me a call. Glen Calvin at Gill Mortgage, 314-249-6861.
And don't forget about our HomeBot. Great resource. Sign up.
Fun. That is some fun, too. We got all kinds of fun today.
All kinds of fun. Would you like to know how much cash is in your home? Would you like to know what that cash could do for you? Would you like to figure out how to pay off your home faster? Would you like to set up a private search where no one will try to bug you or sell you anything when you're searching for another home? I got an app for that. The wealth building app for your home. HomeBot. It's free. Click here.